things, meaning you can start sculpting. That's the main thing. I think that's the most challenging thing. It's like, how do we sculpt something? So we can start sculpting and getting. So if we're gonna make this into a character, then we can start playing with this. So let me what's on? Is it in my pocket? Yes, it is. I was about to steal this Wacom pen. Put it in my pocket. And I was like, oops. So look, right now this shape, let's just call it a shape, doesn't have a lot of active points. Okay, so if you look at your top right hand corner here, right on top, and I'm kind of going up and down it, those are the active points right now, meaning that what you're sculpting right now, it's almost like a giant sketch, right? So you can sketch on it, but it's not going to look right. No matter how much you put into there and how much you point those ears to make that cat look right, because those numbers are low, you'll never get something that's really gonna pop, okay? But this is a great way to really start off your model. It's better if you start off here sketching at a low subdivision level than to to sculpt log your detail at that height of subdivision level. So let me show you that. That way you guys understand what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna grab this object and I'm just gonna drag it over. Again, Alt, drag over. And then I'm just gonna start trying to develop a little place here. I'm gonna rotate that, get over into the back, snap it, drag it over, like that. Here, set a bit of a rotation. And all I'm doing is just moving play around. Okay. If you hold down Shift, okay, can everybody hold down Shift for me? Your cursor is gonna turn blue, right? Right. So that's smoothing. That's automatic smoothing. As you're building, you can, let's say if I like the way this looks, but I want to smooth it out, I can lower the intensity of that a bit because I don't want it to be too drastic, and I can start smoothing out part of my clay. See? You can see that up there? Smoothing out. Well, that's really going to help you later when you start carving into your clay. So here's the tool that might help you a bit. It's not the best tool, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not like the all-almighty great tool, but it does help out. So if you go to your S, you're gonna find your standard brush, right? And with your standard brush, you can bring that intensity up. There's two ways that you can sculpt, okay? You can do Z add or you can do Z sub, right? Z add is going to push information out, and the Z sub is going to carve into that model. So let me show you. It's not going to look pretty, okay? So look, I'm gonna carve. I'm going to go Z sub, and I'm going to start carving in here. Now I can go symmetry with it, or I can go non-symmetrical with it, okay? So I'm going to start carving in here. I'm going to lower the size of my brush because I don't want to do something that's huge. I just want to start carving. Maybe I want to do a mouth or something. So I start carving out. So again, it's like you're drawing, right? So you start carving out something there. Because of the lack of information, we get something that looks very, 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 very choppy. This looks bad. But I can continue to carve out. I can do that. I can do that if I want. I can do that. I can switch it up to the Z add, and I can do this here. I can do that, and I can start doing just quick. I can do that, right? Now, what I can do next, right, this is what's really going to help you guys out when you're getting into this. If you go to your Geometry tab, which is right under your subtools, so you'll have Tools, Subtools, Geometry. We hit Geometry, you get this Divide button. Now look at what happens to my poly count on top, and look at what happens to my model. If I go Divide, you see that? You see how now it just got smoother? Meaning that I'm losing information, meaning that now I can start carving out and make my model look a lot better. So now if I have a subdivision of 2, and if I start carving into my subdivision of 2 here, and if I zoom in to show you, remember Alt or Option, click, zoom in, you can start seeing how much more definition we can get with these models, right? So let me drag this down. Maybe we can make this into like a giant pumpkin or something, so I'm going to start doing that. And then I'm going to bring the draw size in here. And I'm doing it up here to show you, bringing the intensity up, bringing up this draw size. And I can start carving into this thing. As I'm carving, what I want to start doing is I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to start rotating my object. And I'm also going to hold down Alt and I'm going to bring that intensity down because that's way too high. And I want to start softening up some of these selections. Then I can carve in some more so you get this piece to feel a little bit better. Now this is just one tool. It's not the best tool. Okay, I'm going to show you another one which is so much better than what we're working with right now. But this is a way to get a really good start. Remember, you got to move everything around to get a good feel of what you're carving out. Don't be afraid to just get in there and just carve, because then you can go back into it with a lowered size smoothing brush, and you can smooth everything out. So we'll start getting this. See, so we're getting a lot more definition. If you want to get even more definition, then we can divide again, right? And our poly count goes even higher at this point. Now, the cool thing about ZBrush is this, right? Is that I'm not stuck here, right? So correct me on Rhino, just because I don't know Rhino. In Maya, for example, when I'm modeling something like this, if I smooth out my model, I'm pretty much stuck with it. If I save it out that way, good luck going back. I mean, I would have to remodel everything to get things to be at a low poly count to be able to get this face to look the way I want it. In ZBrush, what I can do is you have subdivision levels. So you have this little scroller. You guys see that? And I can go scroller and I can scroll back to level 1, or I can scroll back to level 2, or leave it on level 3. If I want to distort my model, so if I want to jump in here, right? And if on level 3, let's say if I go in here and I select my, let me jump into, see here, and go to my clay building brush. Clay builder. So if I go into my clay building brush, and if I start rotating, and on the sides of this character space, and actually bring this brush up a bit. On the side of the space, I want to start building up some of this geometry. Just to build something that's like different. I want to start building up, and I want to start rotating up. And go all together. I'm sorry, and just rotate this up. I really want to build this up. This is a good way to carve into your model, right? I want to go in here, maybe kind of add some more of that rough detail into that. I want to do that. I can do that on my level 3. I can do this here. I can do that there. I can start carving the teeth if I want. If I go to my C-add, I can keep it as part of the model. I can do it separate. And as I'm rotating, I'm seeing all that detail. If I go back to my first level, what I can do here now, if I want, is I can go back into my move brush. And every time that you guys use a brush, ZBrush is going to remember it, and it'll start stacking them up here into this quick pick. Right? It'll start remembering, so it makes it easier. So I can jump back in here, grab this thing, drag this guy, make him bigger. I'm going to go ahead and center this guy, and I can start, for example, pulling that out, pulling up, making this a little bit thinner, turning this around, pushing this back. Maybe I want to build more of a skull to this character. I want to push that back. Bend some of this geometry, maybe make it a little more. Maybe push some of the eyes out. Lower this a little bit to just focus on the eyes and just kind of start forming them. What's really cool is when you go back into your higher division counts, it'll retain all of that detail. Like, it won't deform it to the point where you can't recognize it. It'll just keep it. Does that make sense? Yes. Anyways, so that's a move tool. That's a standard tool. Let's say if I want to create some like hard edges on this model, because not everything that you guys do in toy design is super round and slit. I'm assuming you guys are gonna have some like flat edges too, different things. There's a couple of brushes that are gonna help you guys out. So let me jump in here and just pull it up. So let me go in here and let me go. So there's this H polish brush, which you guys are gonna love. I've used this brush to make everything from like skateboards to just really kind of basic things, but it's great because it pinches the edges without giving you deformation within your edges, if that makes any sense. So let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna start pinching like the sides of this guy's face. So I'm gonna rotate, and then I'm gonna start pinching here, and you'll start seeing it in a second. Okay, just give me a